Be like Brandon, Jolie. Go. My opponent made 2 observations.
My opponent made 2 observations.
No, 1 observation. He observed that what?
He observed privacy and safety.
The privacy and safety what?
Which are the 2 biggest impacts of the route.
Alright, Jolie, go back and sit down. Brandon, come to the speech again. Give Brandon his pink papers. Jolie, take notes on it. Sit next to Lyle right now. Lyle, help her take notes on this.
Oh, I forgot to state one.
Okay, well, then do it better this time. Fine.
Okay.
Alright, come up here.
Like I didn't mention the demo speech, so I'm going to state that here.
Okay, fine. Alright, so take good notes, right? If you still have to go, Philip, it's another chance for you to take notes on it too. You haven't gone yet.
How
What?
am I supposed to help her take notes?
Just watch her. If she's not doing anything or she's writing down too many words, say you don't need to write down all those words. Like, this is what the problem that new people have is they try to write down sentences. You show her and say, no, you only need to write down these key words. That's all.
Okay.
Alright, go ahead, Brandon.
Okay.
Who's got the music playing?
Lyle!
Can you stop with the music, please?
Yep. Bad music.
Alright, go ahead, Brandon.
I was just playing Minecraft.
Okay.
Who is?
Trevor.
Trevor? Justin, close those laptops. Both of you two. Justin, I already told you to close that goddamn laptop. You will take notes on paper. Here, I don't want your notes on the computer. Well, I've told you many millions of times. It's better to flow on paper. Because, look, even if you think it's faster on the computer, it's faster in using your notes to have it on a physical object called a piece of paper. Can you hand these papers to Paperless Joe over there? Here's more. If he needs paper, give it to him too.
Wait, who else needs paper?
Alan. Now, Brandon is about to bestow upon you the wisdom of the ages. Treat each word for the golden coin of knowledge that it is, and put it in your purse, that you might collect it and use it later for some good. All right, Brandon, proceed.
Okay. Time starts now. So my opponents had an observation that stated that privacy and safety are the 2 biggest impacts in the round. Now, I'm going to go on to some key warrants in which that proves that we better achieve privacy and safety. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is privacy, in which my argument is that judges only spend 2 minutes and 48 seconds on each warrant, and that they approve almost every single warrant. Now, the problem with that is that all my opponents feared against this was that if judges have confidence in it, then they will approve it. But how can they have confidence if they only have 2 minutes and 48 seconds to review the warrants? And this violates privacy, because what the judges, if they just randomly approve warrants, and that means if they don't have any evidence at all of why they should, of probable cause, the judge can just approve that and just randomly search people, and even though they don't have any probable cause. And now, how I achieve safety is is my warrant on police abuse. Now, police will just abuse the exception on that in an emergency situation, you can just search people without any warrants. Now, the police and any principal or teacher will just abuse that by creating an emergency situation with just tear gas. And with this tear gas, there can be many dangers to it just because of how painful it is. And that probable cause is actually violating having even more creating a more unsafe environment. Now, my opponents keep staying against that, is that there's no evidence of this actually happening. But that's just the equivalent of having a knife on the ground, but no one is pointed up and that no one is hurt from it. And that the fact is that we should, just because it hasn't caused harm yet, that doesn't mean it should be something that's fixed. Now, I'd like to say some goals. Our opponents have shown no concern about kids dying from drugs, and a probable cause of the recipe that lets people violate your rights after they met a standard and it's supposed to be okay. Rights of students are at school, they have reduced rights while in session. So if they go to school, they have to abide by the school's rules. And that means they have reduced rights. And that police use dark skin as probable cause. And this is even worse just because that probable cause is now a norm, and that because probable cause is now a norm, now racism is now a norm.
What's a norm?
Yeah,
Normality.
good. But you can also say this normalizes and institutionalizes racism.
Okay.
Okay, use those words are good ones to use. Good job, Brandon. Now,
Can I do it?
you want to do it, Justin? Come up and give it a
Do I
shot.
have to do it?
Give it a shot. I'd like to see you.
I have to finish my notes.
I see you.
All right, whoever's ready to go, come up and do it next. We're gonna
No, there's also
stand over there. Be like Brandon. All right, ready? Go.
Okay, my opponent's observation, two biggest impacts on this round are privacy and safety. They fail to support privacy because judges have 2 minutes and 48 minutes to 2 minutes and 48 minutes to
48 seconds.
48 seconds to stamp something that they don't even care about. My opponents say the judges need confidence to stamp it, but how could they have confidence when they only have 2 minutes and 48 seconds? They also fail to support their safety claim because teachers can provide emergency situations like to do searches with tear gas, and tear gas is very dangerous and can be very harmful to your body. Also, let me point out some key points in this round. My opponent showed no concern about the thousands of kids dying from drugs each year. Also, my opponents also do not have concern about that children have reduced rights when they go to school. They also do not have concern about police use black skin as probable cause. Thank you. I urge you to affirm the resolution.
Negative. Negative ballot.
Vote for negative ballot.
Not terrible. Guys, listen, I want to stress also, Brandon, pay attention to this too, which is the better warrant on probable cause not being an actual restriction on search is magistrate shopping. Magistrate shopping is stronger than the average amount of time spent. Okay, I think using them both in conjunction is stronger still. Because if the cops are only taking their warrant applications to the judges they know always approve warrant applications, then that's what undermines the ability of the justice system to curtail their ambitions.
Wait, this is us.
What?
Why do judges only have 2 minutes and 48 seconds?
They don't. You guys are misinterpreting that. They don't only have 2 minutes 48 seconds. That's the average amount of time they spend approving a warrant. They could choose to use 20 minutes if they wanted. They could choose to use 2 hours to think about it if they wanted. But there's usually not much to think about, right? It says, well, here's the evidence that we have currently that constitutes probable cause. Here's what we want to search. Here's what we want to search for. And judges who believe that the cops, by and large, ought to be doing their jobs like that are going to approve those warrants most of the time. So if the cops only get their warrants checked by judges who are pro-cop, then it's not much of a check on them, is it? That's why the magistrate shopping, I think, is a little bit stronger. Basically, the cops will always choose the judge who only gives 2 minutes and 30 seconds for a warrant, right? They're never going to choose the judge who actually thinks about it hard. They're going to choose the judge who doesn't think about it at all. All right, so who's next to go up and do this? Yeah.
They get to choose which judge.
Yeah, the magistrate shopping card. It's in the champion briefs. We went over it, but we went over it quickly. But it just basically says the cops, yeah, they get to choose which judge or the prosecutor, which judge they take their application for the warrant to.
That was random.
It should be. It should be, but the champion briefs card says in one place that they did this, 54% of all the warrants were issued by one judge in the whole county. Because that was the judge who was most pro-police, so the police always went to him to get their warrants approved. All right, so find that card and use that. That one's a stronger response probably. Who's up next? Philip? Go ahead, Philip. Stand over there in front of the chair.
Is it or just?
No, stand right there. It's fine. Go.
Time starts now. My opponent made an observation that the two biggest impacts of the round are privacy and safety. Now, to address privacy, judges used around 2 minutes and 48 seconds to approve a search warrant, and almost approves all warrants. And it violates privacy, and they approve warrants over and over again. Next, to address safety, police abuse the exception of emergency because they create an emergency that is not safe, such as tear gas, because it spreads around and harms people who are innocent. Next, the opponent made no concern about kids dying from drugs, and it's from probable cause is a recipe that violates people's rights. And next, they said dark skin as a probable cause, and probable cause is a norm, and that would make racism as a norm. I urge you to support a negative ballot.
Okay, but they didn't say dark skin is probable cause. You're saying probable cause equals dark skin. Okay? They're saying let's do probable cause. And you're saying in the status quo probable cause means if you are black, I have probable cause to search you. I'm a cop. Okay? You're saying that by embracing this standard in the schools, we are normalizing and institutionalizing racism. Okay? But good job, Philip. Good job. All right, anybody else gonna do this speech? Let's move on to the next one. Edmond, you come up and do either a summary or a rebuttal, or I don't know. Do the rebuttal, and then let's have everybody do the rebuttal. And if time permits, we'll do another one after that. Okay, go ahead. Are you prepped for it? Do you have the cards?
Yeah.
All right, and then you may need to let whoever is doing it next use your laptop there. Go ahead. I'm going to have to pee while you're doing this, but I'm sure it's going to come out fine. Go ahead.
Edmond, are you doing summary or rebuttal?
I'm doing a rebuttal.
Do you need the timer?
Yeah, that'd probably be helpful.
You're doing rebuttal, right?
Alex, you're bringing the law. Ellen, you're bringing the law. Thank you.
So want to go to clear look
Actually, that's too much. Probable cause is I don't know which one's it. That's fine.
That was his.
That's fine.
That's his.
It's fine. Yeah, busy. Then hold it. Now take off your cap and I'll hold it.
Okay.
So,
Are you doing rebuttal?
yeah. Time starts now. So, Judge, first I would like to address framework. I agree with my opponent's framework on that impact, so we should move on. My opponents have argued that kids should have less constitutional rights in the school environment with their Convention 1. I have two rebuttals against this. One, the whole card talks about many amendments students don't have at school. The problem is a lot of their card isn't even topical because the only amendment that counts in their card is the 4th Amendment about searches. But even if this counted, the only sentence that was mentioned was that students have reduced 4th Amendment rights. That is way too vague as evidence to make the argument my opponents are trying to make. Two, even if you go by that, Judge, all my opponents are doing is restating the status quo by showing which student rights kids don't have. The problem is that we are advocating for change. We want to change the probable cause because reasonable suspicion violates the bodily integrity right of a student. My opponents have argued that change from reasonable suspicion to probable cause standard will cause a problem with school safety in their Convention 2. I have multiple responses to this. One, my opponents have no statistics or evidence to back up their warrant. They do not provide any example that shows the probable cause standard led to more school shootings compared to reasonable suspicion. All they provide is how many school shootings there have been, but don't relate that to the probable cause standard. And number two, my opponents are also arguing off of predicted benefits. They claim that reasonable suspicion is preventing many school shootings right now by searching students. Even if the school did find a weapon, which in a lot of cases it didn't, the student might not have brought that weapon on accident or not to harm anyone. That is what I mean by predicted benefit. And number three, cross-select my Convention 3, which is about how probable cause saves just as much lives as reasonable suspicion. In emergency situations, schools officials don't need a search warrant. The violation of the bodily integrity right comes when when it's not an emergency situation and when school officials strip their students for no reason. Now on to war on drugs impacts, which refutes my opponent's contention 3. Link, Gatland 2016. Drug tests run under reasonable suspicion. Drug tests are considered searches. For searches to be reasonable, they must be conducted with reasonable suspicion. And Stewart 2010, most searches at school are for drugs. While 23% of drug-free school drug test students, 38% of non-drug-free schools conduct some type of drug testing. And impacts. Statute 13A. For 4 decades, the war on drugs was sending too many people into prison, wasting too much money, wrenching apart too many families, and all for no public benefit. Impact 1. War on drugs destroys family. DPA 2016. 1 in 28 children in this country have a parent in prison, in large part due to the people convicted of drug law violations. We believe that families should have privacy and autonomy when dealing with drugs and addiction. Newman 2013I. Millions of people in the U.S. now have a father, mother, brother, sister, son, or daughter behind bars on a drug charge. Impact number 2. War on drugs result in lives lost. Newman 2013F. U.S. drug policies in America have failed to reduce the supply of drugs. Instead, they have led to a bloodbath with more than 60,000 people killed in prohibition violence since 2006. Impact 3. War on drugs is built on racial injustice. Newman 2013A. Despite equal rates of drug use and sales, African American men are arrested at 13 times the rate of white men on drug charges in the U.S., with rates up to 57 times in some states. African American and Latinos together make up 29% of the total U.S. population, but more than 75% of drug law violators in state or in federal prisons. And finally, impact number 4. The war on drugs has wasted an immense amount of taxpayer dollars. Newman 2013C. U.S. federal, state, and local governments now spend $50 billion per year trying to make America quote-unquote drug-free. Think and I urge a strong vote for the affirmative side of this resolution.
Damn, Edmond.
I don't have to imitate that.
As best you can, guys. As best you can. Now look, you've got, you can use the cards that he's got set up. He's got it all set up, I suspect, on his laptop there. I want to hear an experienced person imitate that first. Who's going to imitate it? Lyle? Alright, Lyle, you come up and imitate it.
I think they're rapping or something.
I'm gonna go whatever time I have.
I think it's making a...
I'm really glad that Edmond's the partner for this specific round. Oh, it's colorful.
Wait, just read the parts. Don't make animals.
Do you want it?
Is it all here?
First, second, third.
Okay, it's on that.
Oh, that's fine. Just relax. I'll get the newbies to try it after I get Lyle here to demo it again. We'll see how it goes.
Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay, time, start. Now, hello, my name is Lyle, and I'm on the affirmative side of the solution. Now, onto their opponents. Let's go with their framework. We go under the framework of net impacts, and now onto our first condition. We're going to talk about till 2014. They say that we have no rights. However, my opponent argues that kids have less constitutional rights in the school environment with their constitution when I have 2 rebuttals against this. The whole card talks about many amendments students don't have at school. The problem is this law card isn't even topical because the only amendment that counts in this card is the 4th Amendment about searches. But even if this is counted, the only sentence that was mentioned was that students have reduced 4th Amendment rights. The argument is way too big as evidence to make the argument my opponent is trying to make. Second, if you don't buy that, Judge, all my opponents are doing is reducing status quo by showing which rights kids don't have. The problem is that we are advocating for change. We want to change the probable cause because reasonable suspicion violates bodily integrity rights of a student. Now on to your second contention. My opponent argued that changing from reasonable suspicion to probable cause standard will cause a problem with school safety. I have multiple responses to this. First, my opponents have no statistics or evidence to back up their warrant. They do not provide an example that shows probable cause standard led to more school shootings compared to reasonable suspicion. All they provide is how many shootings there have been at schools, but don't relate that to probable cause standard. Second, my opponent also argues of a predictive benefit. They claim that reasonable suspicion is preventing many school shootings right now by searching students. Even if school did find a weapon, in which in a lot of cases actually didn't, this is might have brought weapon on accident or not to harm anyone. This is what I mean by predicted benefits. Third, cross blame my third contention about how probable cause saves just as many lives as reasonable suspicion. In emergency situations, schools officials don't need a search warrant. The violation of bodily integrity right comes when it's not an emergency situation and when school officials strip search students for no reason. Finally, the third contention. They talk about how drugs lead to the 4th Amendment. However, I'd like to make a link between. I like to talk about war on drug impacts. The link between reasonable suspicion and drugs. Drug tests run under reasonable suspicion. Gatland 2016. Drug tests are considered searches. For search to be reasonable, they must be conducted with reasonable suspicion. Stewart 2010. While 23% of drug-free schools drug test students, 38% of non-drug-free schools conduct some type of drug testing. Impacts. Slur 2013A. For 4 decades, the war on drugs has been sending too many people to prison, wasting too much money, wrenching apart too many families, and all for little public benefit. Impact 1. War on drugs destroys family. DPA 2016. 1 in 28 children in this country have a parent in prison, in large part due to the people convicted in the drug law violations. We believe that families should have privacy and autonomy when dealing with drugs and addiction. Newman 2013I. Millions of people in the U.S. now have a father, mother, brother, sister, son, or daughter behind bars on a drug charge. Impact 2. War on drugs result in life loss. Newman 2013F. U.S. drug policies in America have failed to reduce the supply of drugs. Instead, they have led to a bloodbath, with more than 60,000 people killed in prohibition violence since 2006. Impact 3. Wars on drugs is built on racial injustice. Newman 2013A. Despite equal rates of drug use and sales, African American men are arrested at 13 times the rate of white men on drug charges in the U.S., where rates up to 57 times in some states. African Americans, Latinos together make up 29% of total U.S. population, but more than 75% of drug law violators in state and federal prisons. Impact 4. The war on drugs has wasted an immense amount of taxpayer dollars. Newman 2013C. U.S. federal, state, and local governments now spend $50 billion per year trying to make America, quote-unquote, drug-free. Judge, what this shows you here is that our opponents talking about drugs as part of the Fourth Amendment, it's only going to harm them, because what this shows is that they're violating Fourth Amendment rights, they're violating bodily integrity. And let's go on to the second section about how probable cause supposedly creates more death. Turn that argument actually, Judge, because look, we showed with our analytic that that they're completely wrong, Judge. In addition, they've argued this based on the idea that reasonable suspicion is actually better, but the fact is it's completely wrong. And after their first contention of how they say that we have no rights. We showed that we're advocating for change. The point is that they're just restating the status quo, Judge. Thank you.
Solid. Good job. Really good.
Did I say something too fast, or?
You were going rock solid until the very end when you started to kind of get a little tongue-tied there.
Yeah.
Like the last maybe 20 seconds of it,
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of, I think you reached the point where you felt like you had covered what you had prepared and you had a little bit of time
Yeah,
left.
I like too much time left.
That's fine though. You covered everything. You did a beautiful job. I will say this, that you need to focus a little bit on clarity of pronunciation, because you're a little mush-mouthed, okay?
Okay.
But great job. Great. Ming, you gonna give it a shot? Give it a shot. Let's see how you do.
Don't worry about it, Ming. Hold on. Should I tell which cards are first, second, and third?
If you want, real quick.
Okay, this is last.
Go scroll.
This is first.
So scroll,
Second,
and scroll.
and third.
Scroll down.
Yeah.
Okay, so go.
First.
Just close all. Yeah. So it's just in this order. This is first.
First, second, third. Got it. And if you
You
want,
don't have to make analytics of the analytics.
yeah, just
Does someone have a timer? Ready, set, go. My opponents have argued that kids should have less constitutional rights in the school environment with their contention one. I have two rebuttals against this. The whole card talks about many amendments that students don't have at school. The problem is that a lot of their card isn't topical because the only amendment counted in their card is the Fourth Amendment about searches. But even if this is counted, only a sentence was mentioned was that students have reduced Fourth Amendment rights. That's way too vague as evidence to make my argument my opponents are trying to make. Even if you don't buy this, Judge, all my opponents are doing is restating SQ by showing which
Status quo.
by restating the status quo by showing which rights kids don't have. The problem is that we are advocating for change. We want to make probable cause because reasonable suspicion violates the bodily integrity rights of a student.
We are advocating for change. Not are. Keep going.
Wait, I can't open this card for some reason. Edmond. Okay, never mind. My opponents have also argued that changing for a reasonable suspicion to probable cause standard will cause a problem with school safety. I have multiple responses to this. First of all, my opponents have no statistics or evidence whatsoever to back up their warrant. They do not provide any example that shows probable cause standard led to more school shootings compared to reasonable suspicion. All they provide is how much school shootings has been at schools and don't relate to the probable cause standard. Second, my opponents are also arguing for a predicted benefit. They claim that reasonable suspicion is preventing many school shootings right now by searching students. Even if the school did find a weapon, which is in a lot of cases, it didn't. The students may have brought the weapon on accident or not to harm anyone. This is what I mean by a predicted benefit. Third, cross-apply my contention being about how probable cause safe, just as much applies as reasonable suspicion. Emergency situation. Schools officials don't need a search warrant. The violation of voluntary rights comes when it's not an emergency situation and when schools do strip search students for no reason. War on drug impact. Link. Yeah, in 2016. Drug tests run under reasonable suspicion. Drug tests are compared to searches. For searches reasonably, they must be conducted with reasonable suspicion. Stewart 2010. Most searches are at school for drugs. While 23% of drug-free schools drug test students, 30% of non-drug-free schools conduct some type of drug testing. Index. Sledge 2013a. For decades, the war on drugs was sending too many people to prison, wasting too much money, wrenching too many families, all for little no public benefit. Impact 1. War on drugs destroys families. DPA 2016. 1 in 28 children in this country have a parent in prison, in large due to people convicted under drug law violations. We believe that families should have privacy and autonomy when dealing with drugs. Huffington Post, Tony Newman, Drug War Consequences. Newman 2013. Millions of people in the U.S. now have a father, mother, son or daughter behind bars on a drug charge. Impact 2. War on drugs results in lives lost. Newman 2013F. Drug policies in America have failed to reduce the supply of drugs. Instead, they have led to a bloodbath with more than 60,000 people killed in prohibition violence since 2006. Impact 3. War on drugs is built on racial injustice. Newman 2013A. Despite the equal rates of drug use in Salem, African men are arrested at 13 times the rate of white men on drug charges in the United States, with rates of up to 57 times in some states. African Americans and Latinos together make up 29% of the U.S. population, but more than 75% of drug law violators in state and federal prisons. Impact 4. War on drugs have wasted an immense amount of money on taxpayer dollars. Newman 2013C. U.S. federal and local governments now spend $50 billion a year trying to make America drug-free.
That was good, Ming Yu. You covered everything? Did you leave anything off?
Which one did you get it off to?
I think I ended the whole entire thing.
Okay, yeah. I think you got like 1 point. Yeah.
That's good.
Look at the anime club.
You guys are pretty amazing. That's how, when things run well, that's how it's supposed to run, right? Where we have this good model and we're able to see how these things play out. So, who else wants to do it? Anybody else? Go ahead, Alan.
Wait, are you recording this?
So I just
Yeah. Yeah, you just do it. Yeah. That's...
But I don't know the order of it.
Well, Alan, thank you, Ming Yu. Thank you, Edmond. Thank you, Justin, for thanking them for me. Was that Justin?
What?
Who was that who said that?
That one.
Oh, that was you? Oh, okay.
First, second, no.
I'm gonna go and wait, this one's what is it? This one? Okay.
So I just click it as I go. So 1, 2, so
Wait,
1, 2,
wait,
3.
You want to do framework?
No, 1, 2, 3 like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So time. Wait, so do I just read everything?
Alan?
Okay, so time starts now. My opponents have argued that kids should have less constitutional rights in the school environment after contention 1. I have 2 rebuttals against this. The whole card talks about many amendments students don't have at school. The only problem is a lot of their card isn't even topical because the only amendments that count in their card is the 4th Amendment about searches. But even if this counted, the only sentence that was mentioned was that students have reduced 4th Amendment rights. That is way too vague to use as evidence to make the
Garage band song questions the system from the standpoint of the purpose with which it was born. This